Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you are well. Today I'm going to tell you a story about three daughters. The name of our story is Beauty and the Beast. Let's start. A rich merchant had lost everything at sea and was now quite poor. He had three lovely daughters, but the elder two were quite spoiled and always wanted the finest clothes and food in the world. Now they couldn't have them anymore, and they were angry with their father because of this. Belle, who was the youngest and also the prettiest of the three, loved her father dearly and didn't care much for comfort and finery. She only wanted her father and her family to be happy. One day, the merchant got news that one of his ships that had been lost at sea had finally made it back to the port. He decided to go and see the ship and its captain. It was possible that the ship had come back with enough cargo that he could sell and start his business again. When he was leaving for the port, he asked his daughters what they wanted when he returned. "I want the finest dress of silk and lace," the eldest said. "I want the finest string of pearls from the Indian Ocean," the second daughter said. "I want a rose, Papa," Belle said, not wanting to make her father work extra hard. When the merchant arrived at the port, he was told that his ship had been looted at sea by pirates, and they had taken all the cargo from it. He was entirely ruined now. He could barely pay for his journey back to his home, much less for the dress and jewels that his daughters wanted. On his way back to the town in which he lived, he had to pass through a thick forest. It was quite late in the evening when he reached the forest. He thought about turning back and returning the next morning, but decided it was better to just ride through the night and reach in the morning. He would get home early, and he wouldn't have to spend extra money on a room for the night. At midnight, he was in the deepest part of the forest. During the day, sunlight barely reached these areas, and at night it was so dark that it made no difference whether he opened or shut his eyes. Then suddenly he heard loud thunderclaps, and it started raining. The merchant was cold, wet, couldn't see a thing, and had no idea which way to go. He remembered the stories he'd heard as a child about the forest being haunted by a savage beast that kidnapped travelers and locked them up in his castle. He had laughed at them as a child, but now they seemed to be very real. Then a flash of lightning opened up the sky for a second. He saw a big, hulking shape in a clearing to his left. It looked like a huge building. He thought he might find some shelter and food and perhaps even a fire there, so he headed in that direction. When he got near the building, he realized it was a huge castle with walls so high he couldn't see their tops, and towers that rose even higher. They looked like they might end in the clouds. The front gate was a huge wooden door, at least 3 times his height and very wide. It was covered with metal spikes that were long and mean. Before he found any way of knocking on the door, it swung open on its own. A huge hulking figure stood behind the door. But it was dark inside the castle as it was outside. "Welcome to my home," the figure said. "You must be tired and hungry. Please go into the hall in your right. You will find food and a place to sleep there." You can leave in the morning if you wish, or in a few days." "Thank you," said the merchant. "This is most kind of you. I have no way to repay you for your kindness. I have lost everything in the world." "That doesn't matter," said the figure. "You are a guest under my roof tonight, and you will receive everything you need." The man went into the hall and found the most amazing dinner laid out in front of a crackling, warm fire. He was feeling warm and cozy even before he took off his coat. His host had left him at the entrance of the castle. The merchant thought it was because it was quite late and he wanted to sleep. After dinner, which was the best the merchant had ever eaten, he too curled up on a couch and went to sleep. The next morning was bright and clear. The sun was streaming into the hall from large windows, and the merchant woke up, thinking the last night's misery was just a bad dream. He found breakfast laid out on the table, and next to his things was a chest of the finest dresses and jewels he had ever seen. He knew his daughters would be very happy to see them. He wanted to thank his host, but he couldn't find him anywhere. The merchant decided he should leave or else he would be late reaching his home. So put everything on his horse and left. On his way out through the garden, he saw a beautiful rose on a bush. Thinking of Belle and the gift she had asked for, he plucked the rose for her. As soon as he did this, he heard a loud snoring behind him, a huge beast with shaggy brown fur, red eyes, and fangs as long as a man's fingers were standing behind him about to pounce on him. "How dare you take my most prized possession?" the beast snarled. "You will die for stealing from me. I gave you the finest of things and you still steal from me." "Oh, please spare me," the merchant cried, scared to death. "I was only taking it for my daughter. You gave me things that my other daughters asked for, but Belle had only asked for a rose." This made the beast calm down a little. "Tell me about your daughters," he said, sounding less angry. The merchant told the beast everything about his daughters and what each of them had asked for when he had left on the trip. He begged to be allowed to go back to them. "You may return," said the beast finally, "but on one condition. You will send your daughter Belle to visit me. If you don't, I will find you and kill you. Do not worry about her. I will not harm her." The merchant returned home. His daughters were overjoyed to receive their gifts, but when he told Belle about the condition the beast had set when allowing him to return, she was worried. She decided she would go because she loved her father and didn't want him to die. When she reached the castle, the beast welcomed her in the same way he had welcomed the merchant. He gave her the best rooms in the castle and the best clothes and food she had ever seen. The castle had many amazing things in it, which the beast showed her every day, but her favorite was the library. She would spend many hours every day reading books. She loved reading more than anything else. Time flew by till one day Belle became homesick. She wanted to see her father. The beast allowed her to return, but on one condition, that she return after a week. He gave her a magic mirror with which she could see what was happening with the castle, and a ring that would bring her back to the castle in an instant if she wanted. She agreed and left to see her family the same day. When she reached home and told her family about the beast and the castle, they were amazed. Her elder sisters were quite jealous. They wanted the beast to dislike her, so they made her stay longer than the week he had given her. On the 8th day, Belle looked into the mirror and found that the beast was dying because he felt she had left him. Belle immediately used the ring and returned to the castle. And she was too late. She found the beast in his room lying on the floor, dead. Everything in the room was destroyed, slashed, and broken by the beast in his anger and sadness. Belle put his head in her lap and started crying. I have come back, she kept saying. Her tears slid down her cheek and onto the beast's head. And something strange happened. The beast began to shrink, his fur disappeared, and his fangs and paws became much smaller. He transformed into a young prince about the same age as Belle. Then he opened his eyes. He was overjoyed to see Belle again and to be a man again. He told Belle about an ancient curse that a witch had put on him, turning him into a beast until he found someone who truly loved him. Belle was that person. Belle realized that she did love the beast, or the handsome prince that was now standing in front of her. They were married in a great celebration, and Belle's family came to live with them in the castle. Everyone lived happily ever after. So this is the end of our beautiful stories. Hope you enjoy it. I will come back with a new beautiful story. Till then, take care. Ta-ta.